Hello, everyone. Welcome to your third module in the class on how to help your team promote to Silver Elite. Now, let's recap just a little bit about where we came from the last two trainings, and that should hopefully set us up exactly where we need to be to today. I have updated the handbook for you so you can read and follow along with us. And we will be able to take some notes and do all that thing because these are just bullet points in the handbook, and hopefully you can add your own piece and the own things that you hear along the way. First thing though is that Silver Elites, that title doesn't just happen. I've never met anyone this entire time I've been doing training or my team that just happened to just become a Silver Elite. Now, I've had that happen with Bronze Elite or even Silver. They're like, what, Silver? That happened? Like, I just was sharing what I love to do and it just happened. That doesn't usually happen with Silver Elite. It comes from a desire to work towards that. And that's why the first 2 weeks that I did were that I believe even important, even comes before the training. Because it's no good to train anybody if there's no one there. It's no good to train anybody if no one has the desire to want to be a Silver Elite. And that's why the first module we talked about setting the foundation. Setting the foundation for a team that is used to meeting together. They want to see each other succeed. You're doing rewards and recognition. You are gathering with them. That you will have a team. We went through a lot of foundational skills for you as we talked about what you're building, what your team is that you're building. So the second part then is last week we went through rewards and recognition. Again, we can't do the training if we don't have anyone who has the desire. So setting up the rewards and recognition program specifically for your Silver Elites in your team, then that will hopefully help create the desire in more and more of your team members. I hear often, again, that we have all hobbyists and that no one wants to build a business. And I'm telling you right now, that's simply not true. You probably just aren't helping facilitate creating the desire. They don't even know what Silver Elite is or why they would even want to do it. So the last 2 weeks are so important to allow this third week to actually work. I fully believe I can almost bring anybody to the Silver Elite status if they want it. So that's usually the part that requires some effort to find the people who want to work as hard as they need to or love it as much as we do in order to want to reach that title. But it's out there and you have to help facilitate that. And that's what those first 2 weeks are about. Those first 2 hours are about helping you establish a team that is pushing them and encouraging them and motivating them to want to reach the title of Silver Elite. So these are built over time. But before you can train or teach, then that desire needs to be developed. That's why that first 2 weeks we set up a system to slowly develop. It's not going to happen overnight. Everything we did does require some time. So in this section that we're going to be talking about, it's the training. You may only have a very select few at first who actually take you up on this. It depends on the size of your team. And so the more you recruit, the more you bring in, the more people you're going to have to influence and to work with. But the time that you spend with these people, even if it's only one, even if it's 2 or 3, I hope it's 3, but even if it's only just a couple, this is important and effective in getting it in place so that a year from now, you're going to have maybe 5 or 10 people that you're working with. Eventually, you're going to have more. Trust me. We always got to start off small. My first team meeting had 2 people there, and I think my second one had 3, and I think maybe my third one had 5. So if I got frustrated at the 2 and the 3 and I never had another one, I would never have ever kept growing. A year later, I had 15 at my team meeting, and quickly after that, I went to 20 and so forth. But if I had quit when I only had 2 or only had 3, I would never have gotten to where I am today or where I was even a year later. So remember that you have to do this where you're at right now. Okay, so first, I broke this into a couple different sections. How do you find your Silver Elites? Again, notice my wording there. How do you find them? Again, they don't fall in your lap. They don't. Second of all, how do you start this training we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a leadership training. And then we're going to break it down. I actually will give you the agenda for your whole leadership training. And then we're going to end up with the one-on-one work that you can do with your potential silver elites that you have and your current silver elites, both. So first of all, before we can have a proper leadership training, how do we find our silver elites in our team? How do we, actually, you don't need silver elites to have a leadership training or a business builders group. That's what we're going to try to find them through running this program. So this program isn't necessarily to build just silver elites. Let me clarify that from the very beginning. A leadership program is very, very important. I let anyone and everyone join this program. I don't care if they're bronze and just joined yesterday, or if they've been around for 4 years and they're a silver. Everybody's invited to join this leadership program I'm going to talk to you about. It's anyone who really wants to take their hobby to the next level, and that's what I say. If you want to take your hobby to the next level, if you'd like to learn how to make any money with this, then join this group. That's all that it is. Now, from this group is typically where I will eventually find my silver elites. So I have to start here. But just so you know, this is not just silver elite training. This is because before we can develop silver elites, we have to create the desire, remember? So we have to start low and give them the desire to take the baby steps before then we push them to the silver elite status. So the second thing on here, leadership training is so very important. It is so important. Most direct sales companies even have like a weekly leadership training call that you have to have, and that we need. Leaders need to be filled continually because they have to fill themselves and then they have to fill other people. So we're always being pulled upon. I say this with all respect and all love, but leadership training within our Stampin' Up! Company is lacking huge. And I'm not saying that to complain or to vent. It's just stating a fact. It's lacking. They have some here and there, but it's sporadic. We don't know when it is. We have a couple that are at live events that are thrown into a center stage, but it's nothing that's done on a consistent basis. So I tell you this, again, not to complain. I tell you this because it means you need to fill this void. Remember, this is your business. This is your company. If you know that it needs something, you have to fill that need if it's not being met from somewhere else. So you can get that from an outside resource, which is why I have my training business, or you have to do it yourself. So you have to fill that need. And if and when Stampin' Up! Does give any sort of a leadership or business training, use that too. It's just that it's something that we need, and it's lacking. So I'm just going to be just honest and not say it in a negative way, it's just a fact. If you happen to have listened to the first class that I did, which was How to Promote to Silver Elite, you are going to have seen this program in action. Like, I actually presented it. Now, I condensed it down to 3 weeks versus 6 weeks. So I packed a lot more information. I packed 2 modules into really each one. So, but you got to see my wording. You got to kind of see the layout of it. But I am also going, if you didn't take that, and you didn't have to, it just was if you wanted to see how I would have said the things and the priorities that I put and what I trained on, how I taught about recruiting, how I taught about filling their calendar, how to run order-based classes, how to work with their new teams. If you wanted to see how I would present that, then you could have taken the first class, and a lot of you did. But I'm also going to give you, in your handbook, I gave you an agenda, and it's breaking it down. It has a little bit more to it because we have 6 weeks now, and it's breaking it down into an actual agenda for you. Now, you're going to teach them what to say, but the agenda will be there for you. So I covered 2 topics each week, but you're going to break that up into weekly, a 6-week program. I recommend for our leaders and our business builders, and for you, a weekly leadership training. Sometimes that might be going from 0 to 100 for some of you, so that might be a little overwhelming. So at minimum, we have to start with at least this 6-week program. And then eventually you'll see once you do 6 weeks, then you're gonna love it, and your team is going to love it, and you're gonna want to keep it going. So you may extend it for longer if you want to. But at minimum, we're going to start with a 6-week program. Here's the real cool part. This is how I find usually my next Silver Elites, because after the 6 weeks are done, I see who's left, who's actually still playing along with me. I usually, if I start off with 12 people, I might be left with 3 that are still showing up every week and still doing the homework. Then I know that's my next Silver Elite. The homework that we're going to accomplish in these 6 weeks is not going to get them to Silver Elite. It's not. It's not the point. The point is to motivate everybody. The point is to help them start getting sales, to help them start finding new customers, to start having some success. And then I find the ones that take action and do what we map out, and then we start working with them more. So everybody gets to join the program. And here's what happens. Some people might fall off after 2 or 3 weeks just because life happens, or they're just not in the right place. But then they take the program again the second time I offer, or the next time I offer it. And then the next time, they get all the way through. And that these two still can be my next Silver Elite. It just takes them a little bit longer. But this is one of my filter systems to find who is going to be my next leader. So how else do I find my Silver Elites? That is my main way, but how else do I find them? I delegate to team members all the time. New ones that have been around for a long time, but I'm always delegating to them. And I see who steps up and who does a really good job with what I've given them. I will give them very broad, hey, tell us about the event you had last week. You had great sales. Just tell us about it. And they'll want to go over it with me, no. I want you to do your job at presenting to us how you did your class, show us what you made, and then tell us how you ran it. And if they're up there and they're a mess and they don't show up to the meeting, I've had that happen, or they didn't even show up, and I'm like, that's, she's probably not going to be the next one that's going to be my next leader. That doesn't happen as often. What usually happens is they show up with a PDF file, they have it, copied for everybody. They have step-by-step instructions. They just come to life up there. They're nervous, but they come to life up there. They are just magical. And I'm sitting there the whole time. Even I just got chills. I got chills just telling you that story, because I see leaders developed all the time. And I look at them and they are my next Silver Elite. They are. They don't know it. They only have 1 team member right now, and their sales are only $2,000. But that is my next Silver Elite. It really, true story. I'll tell you the true story. 4 months ago, I had Cheryl Kanishnek, Cheryl K, and she might be listening. She might not. I don't know. But she, self-proclaimed hobbyist, does one. She's probably, I'm going to guess here, probably 65 years old. She's retired. And she was an old school superintendent, so she's a little spark fire, but she just loves everybody and everyone loves her, and she's just this fun team member. Again, a self-proclaimed hobbyist who did 1 class a month. Well, all of a sudden, she started taking some of these ideas that we give out through the training. She decided to start holding maybe another event, maybe another one. She got her first recruit, which is her sister, and she promoted to silver. And then I had her do a presentation on an event she did. I think it was a tea. It was a tea party that she did. And her sales were $800. And it was so much fun. And she had all these fun raffles that she did. And I had her teach on it. And literally, I was so proud of her presentation. She left, files for everybody and wrote it all down and just did a great job. And I told her afterwards, I said, you were phenomenal. I said, you are going to be one of my next big leaders. I know it. I can see you're a leader. Look at how you led everyone in this room. You don't know it yet, but you're a leader. People feed off of you, and you did such a good job on your presentation. Thank you, and I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do with this. Before you know it, she has 3 recruits. Guess right now, she has 6 recruits, and one of them is only $800 away from being a silver herself. We talked a couple months later about Silver Elite, because she saw the Silver Elite reception, and she wants to be there. And so when we met her 4 months ago, she had a couple $1,000s in sales, and now she's well over 7,200, and it's all the pieces are falling in place. How I identified her was simply delegating her to do something, and she just stepped up big time. Afterwards, we talked, planted some seeds, and before you know it, we started to map out what it took to become a Silver Elite, and she will do it. She will be my next Silver Elite. Well, actually, I might even have one before then, but she will be one of them. So this is the other thing I do with these leadership people and with Cheryl, with all of them. I set tasks for them, and then we see who does them. So I give out the homework. We see who accomplishes it. People who accomplish and report their homework are some of the key people that make it to Silver Elite. They're not just being a teacher's pet or a schmoozy. They're doing their job, and they're proud of it, and they're taking action. Those are the ones I set forth tasks to everybody, and we see who rises up and actually does it. Then eventually, once they start to complete the homework assignments or complete the tasks, which I'm going to give you during the training program part of it, then we might even move on to one-on-one work, either face-to-face, or we'll do it typically over the phone. And then the real magic starts to happen. I invite people. People don't come to me. I don't just have this golden, aura about me and saying, oh, come in and let me tell you what to do. That's not typically what happens. Actually, it's never what happens, really. But I invite them. I say to Cheryl, you have the potential to be my next leader. I see it, and you are a leader of people. And I would love to help you. I know you're going to be the next Silver Elite. I invite them to join the Business Builders group. I invite them to be a part of this leadership program, or I invite them to work with me one-on-one. They don't fall in your lap. You have to identify them. But again, how do you identify them? By delegating, by letting them step up, by having a program where you give lots of interaction and tasks and see who steps up. Then I plant the seed within them. That seed then kind of takes on itself when at the monthly meetings, every little successes that they have. I plant the seed all the time about Cheryl being one of our next Silver Elites, and that seed starts to plant, and it grows and grows and grows. I send her Facebook messages giving her encouragement when I see good things happening. You're going to plant those seeds, and you're going to help see them develop. And then the last one, how do I really identify my Silver Elites, is who is holding classes. It's hard to take someone who's not doing any classes and have them become a Silver Elite. They have to be able to find new customers and be able to develop recruits as well. So if someone's holding classes and they bring their friends to the meetings, and that's exactly what Cheryl did. She was holding one class, and then she was holding 2 classes a month was all. But she was bringing her friends to the meetings. They weren't even demonstrators yet, because they have all joined now. But they weren't to begin with. She was just bringing her friends with her. I have an open door policy. Please bring your friends, bring your guests, because we know we develop them into something more. And we did, and that's exactly what we do here. So these are the people. This is who I target. Like I said, in most of the other cases, they don't just fall from the sky. And rarely could I find anybody who didn't fit somewhere in this criteria. Okay, so how do you start this leadership training that I'm talking about? Okay, I'm not going to jump to the agenda yet. Don't jump ahead to me, because some of you are doing this, but you haven't done the starting point first. I can actually think of a realistic thing here. So I have people who just jump right into weekly leadership training, but they haven't done the inviting. They haven't done they haven't made them register. They haven't made them commit, and they're not getting the results that they want. So we got to start back at the beginning. Okay, so how do we start this program? Let's start there. First of all, just do 6 weeks at first. You don't have to jump into committing to every single week. That might scare them away. So just start off with 6 weeks. Find the next 6 weeks that you can commit to every single week. I do not recommend the summer months. You're going to be setting them up for failure. One of my really good friends and good training clients, did a program, and it was a program I taught on, and she did it, I think it was like July and August, and she didn't get any bookings, her team didn't do very well, and she was just like, I'm terrible, I can't do this, and I'm a failure. And I'm like, no, you're not at all. You just chose the wrong time. No one's booking parties in, I shouldn't say no one, I don't believe in that. Very few people are booking parties in July and August, and so you just didn't pick the right time. You have the right program, just not the right timing. So the best times to do these are, I usually start at the very end of January, the third week of January, and I go through the end of March. And then I do them again, and we start in September and go through the end of October. Again, it's like mid-September that we start. So those are the 2 times a year that I do. It's like a 6 to 9 week program. It usually goes longer than 6. So that is when I do my kind of a stepped up leadership group. Those are the best times possible. Now, if you're listening to this, it's a little bit after that. So you can, if you want to do April through June, that's great. If you want to do, you want to pick 6 weeks. And if you're going to do one right away after watching this, because I love you taking action, then do it right away. Just, I wouldn't do it into the summer months where you're covering a lot of summer months. Because the problem is, you're going to set them up for failure. They're going to be trying to go out there and get parties and bookings and work with people, and people are going to be on vacation and they're not going to be home. Okay, so set your time, and I gave you the best times. If you want to hold one right away, then you can hold one right away so you get this ball rolling, and then you can do one, September and October and part of November. Again, I don't do it into December either, because you're kind of setting them up for failure, because what they're going to be implementing, they're going to need some people who actually want to stamp with them and meet with them and book some parties and do that kind of stuff. Okay, so number 2, set your dates. When are you going to start and when are you going to finish? And you also want to set your time. This is important. I used to do that in the evening because that's what I thought would work best for everybody. And it might work best for everybody. It does not work for me. My brain is pudding by the evening, and I mean it. Like I have one now that's in the evening, and I do it twice a year, and it takes every ounce of me to really give my all. It's difficult. I'm much better on my game during the day. So you have to pick what works best for you. An evening might work absolutely best for you because you work a full-time job, or because you're taking care of kids, or you're just working during the day. So then an evening will work good. So I have a group that meets at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I have a group that meets actually at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I have a group that meets at 9 o'clock in the evening. Now, you are going to obviously probably just start off with one group. Eventually, I hope you do have 3 groups, but you're going to do just one group will be plenty, up until if you have 30 or 40 people, will you have to break off into separate groups. But you got to find the time that works for you first and foremost. If it doesn't work for you, you're not going to be able to maintain it, and you're going to stop doing it. Even though it works, you're going to stop because it's going to be a burden. This can't be a burden. You have to do this every week. You have to be passionate about it. And so if it's going to be on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock in the morning, that's when it is. And if someone wants to be a part of it, then they are going to find a way to be available on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock. I have ones that take lunch breaks and listen. I have ones that just do the recording because I record them all, so they can't be there live. But they always listen to the recording, and then they're active on the Facebook group. A lot of them find a way to make it work. They work full-time jobs, but they find a way to be there. So most people can make even a daytime work if they truly want to. So set the date and make sure it's consistent, and set the time that works best for you. We're not being selfish. I care about not you getting burned out. I care about you not getting frustrated because it's difficult, because you're taking away from you're taking away from your family, or because it's hard. This doesn't have to be hard. It needs to actually be enjoyable. Okay, number 3 is you are going to invite your whole team. Do an invitation to invite all your first through third. I like using an actual sign-up sheet that they can actually sign up for. Now, I call mine the business builders. You can call it a leadership group, an Apex group, your VIP group. You name it what you want to. You can take your team name and call it something else. But everyone is invited. It's not an exclusive group. It's exclusive once you start, but to begin with, everyone can be a part of it. Anyone who wants to take their hobby to the next level, building a business, or maybe even possibly earning the incentive trip, then this is the place to be. Here's a key thing. They have to register. They have to commit, not just show up if they feel like it. So you don't just say, okay, we're starting on Tuesday, just show up if you want to. No. It is a registered, you are confirming back to them, they are committed, and you are planning on them. This is not just play. This is, if I'm going to be investing my time and working with you, then all I ask for you is to give me back the same effort. I'm not going to charge you for this. It doesn't cost any money. I'm just asking for your time. And then your success is up to you if you want to take action. But we have to commit to this. This is a commitment. So number 5 then is to follow the agenda and give them homework each week. The homework needs to be doable. It needs to be accountable. Does that make sense? You need to be able to account for it. Not just go out, get 6 parties, I suggest it, and then where's the accountability? So are you going to actually make them really get 6 parties? I don't think so. Are you going to go out and get 6 parties? I don't think so. So it needs to be homework. Go out and book your own party for 3 weeks from now. Start with your own. That's accountable. They have control over that. Now I want you to find 2 more hostesses. Now we're going to teach you how to find those hostesses, and then you do the actions, and the hostesses will follow. So you see that you need to give homework, and it needs to be accountable. Number 6 is have all of your leaders participate. If you already have silvers or silver elites, make sure that you invite them to come. You want them to be a part of this because we want them to have their potential leaders come. So my 2nd and 3rd level, everyone's invited, but I really like it when their upline is there too. And so we're working together as a team. I'm there to support them both. And so it's good when we're all there present together. But I really like it if I have a current silver elite or a gold elite that they are participating too. Number 1, their businesses always need a boost. I participate in it. I do it because I need a boost, and so do they. You can never think you're too good to go back to the basics. Never. You are never too good to focus on the basics. And a lot of times, we need reminders of those basics. Like this, the first couple steps are huge, and they need to be done by everybody at least twice a year, sometimes more. So these are all things that every one of the members of your team, however big or how small they are, that they can do together. I also think it's really good for your team to have your bronze elites and silvers, to see your silver elites still working, to see them still working with you, that you have a great working relationship with a lot of respect, and that they're never too good to participate in your training and your challenges, and because their teams will usually follow them, so they need to be following you too. That doesn't just happen. You have to ask them. You have to encourage them. When I do it, I even message my team and say, hey, you didn't sign up for that. Are you going to do it? And they might say, you know what, Rhonda, right now life is really hard, and I just can't commit to doing it. And I'm like, okay, I understand. But next time around, I really want to make sure that you put it as a priority so that we're working together. Because you have team members who have signed up for this, and they need to see that you're a part of it. And so that's all it is. I'm not making them do it. I'm just highly encouraging it. Okay, number 7, here's a tough one. This is a tough one. This is tough. You need to participate. You need to be an active participant. You do the homework, you report it, and you take the same steps that you're asking them to do. It's only going to help your business, and it's only going to build that respect and that relationship with all those members on your team. It's important for them to see you still in the trenches, still finding new customers. You might not have to do as much as that they might need to do, but when I tell them to book their own private party within 3 weeks, I've already booked mine. I might even have just held mine so I can teach them the results that I had. There's so many times that I will teach on something, and before I teach it, I do it so that I know how to teach properly. So I've got to do things first to be able to really encourage them. Or they're usually things that I'm just doing on a normal basis. But typically, I will always participate. A good leader always participates and does it too. Leaders don't stand at a pulpit and just tell people what to do. They walk down there with their team and they hold hands and they do it together. That is what really makes a strong leader that people want to walk with. All right, number 8. To start this, you have to figure out how, like the logistics. Even non-technical people can do this. I am not a technical person at all. To find something out just today, as I was getting ready to do this, my computer, this is a brand new, well, it's about a year and a half old. It was full. The disk space is full. I know why it was full, but I couldn't get rid of the files. So I sat on Google for 10 minutes, did what it told me to do, and guess what? Voila, I was able to delete those files. So if you don't know how to do something, just Google it. I promise you there is step-by-step somewhere on there, usually even a YouTube video that will teach you how to do something. As a matter of fact, I found a person who asked my exact question, and I saw how Apple answered them, and it was step-by-step, and it was exactly what I needed to do. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that you can figure out this technical side of things. Number 1, the easiest is teleconferencing. And I say easiest not just for you, it's easiest for the people listening. Our classic clientele, our average downline member is a crafty person. That means they're usually not very technical. A lot of them are the age between 45 and 65. They're usually not very technical. So doing a teleconferencing is something I know everyone can do. And you can also record it so they can listen to it whenever they want to. I use freeconference.com. I still use recordings today, teleconference recordings. I also do work in videos now and Facebook Lives and Zooms. So I do all of it to try to, because visual, seeing your face, it always makes things more powerful. I do use Zoom. Zoom is what I use for my 6-week program or my 9-week program. This is what I use because that way we can see each other's faces. It is free up to 40 minutes. Typically this goes about an hour, so I pay for the yearly service. It's $149 a year, and then you can do as many video conferencing as you want to. It's also very easy to use. I have never had a person ever that was not able to finally use Zoom. It's pretty much just clicking a link, downloading the app, and then it works every week. It's really simple. I love Zoom, and you can also record it too. So if someone can't listen at the time that you designate, then they can listen to that recording. And you also can do, I do recommend that you start a Facebook group to go along with it. So this is like kind of like a break off of your main team group is everything. It's happy shopping, happy hobbyists, a lot of welcoming, a lot of recognition, questions being asked. It is just a happy community. So I will break off of that and have a business builders group where we're doing the homework accountability, where we are doing some business focus. People can ask business questions. So this is a break off point. So in that group, you can even do Facebook Lives. Teleconferencing is free unless you want to record it. And when you record it, I think I pay $13.95 a month. So that's about the same cost as Zoom. Zoom is $149 per year. So it's about the same cost. So to record something, you're going to have a cost usually associated with it. Facebook Lives are free and they are recorded, and they can chat and interact as well. So that's another option. It doesn't have to cost you anything. So there's no excuses here. You can all do this, and you can do it any one of the ways that you want to. All right, so the next part we're going to go over is the agenda. Now, this is a 6-week training program, and each week is an hour long. So if I went through each one like specifically, we would be here for 6 weeks. So I'm not. This is the agenda. Again, if you listened to the first training session that we did, the first class, you will have listened to how I actually train on these things. But here's a brief agenda. Week 1 is first of all, the first 2 weeks are really simple, easy tasks to complete. It's just making the time to do them. I'm not asking them to do anything out of their comfort zone in the first 2 weeks. Week 3 it's a little, people can schedule a whole lot of things, but are they actually holding anything? So even, it doesn't get to week 4 before I really, about week 3, week 4, that I make them get out of their comfort zones. And if this is where you lose people. So the first couple weeks though, we don't want to lose anybody. We want to create the desire. We want everyone to feel successful. We want them to be a part of a really happy knit group. As an example, I have my mastermind groups right now that I'm doing. And my one group had 16 people who joined in it. And we're through like the first 4 weeks, let's say. So we're through this. Now we're into the recruiting and the team building. But we just had the scheduling your parties, finding funnels, finding new customers, doing hostess packets. And we just went through that part where it takes people out of their comfort zone. Guess how many I have on my call the last 2 weeks? 9. And probably by the last week, I'm going to have 6 because it's going to just get a little bit trickier. The time commitment is trickier, and what I'm asking them to do is a little bit trickier. This is normal. I'm not upset about that. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's normal. So I want to set that up for you. Don't get frustrated when you lose people along the way. Remember, it's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find our next silver elites, inspire the other ones to want more. If they do weeks 1, 2, and 3, they're going to improve their business and they're going to feel successful. But if they actually do weeks 4, 5, and 6, now we're going to have results. And then we're going to have our next silver elites, okay? So no, not everyone's going to stay around. It's kind of like Survivor, where you start off with a 20, and now they don't vote each other out. They kind of pull themselves out, but we whittle it down and whittle it down to see who's left. My standing survivors left. That's my next silver elites. Okay, so that's the whole point of this. So keep that in mind. I just want you to go in with proper expectations. Otherwise, I have people who say, well, yeah, but you know what, half of them don't even do it anymore. Why am I wasting my time? I don't know why I put forth the effort and they don't show up anymore. That's okay. They're not going to. That's the point. We got to, though, focus on the ones that are showing up and continue to stay there every single week. Not they miss 1 or 2 because of really important reasons or they're sick. That's understandable. But who's going to be there at the end? That is who we're going to work with at the end to create that silver elite within our team. Okay, week 1 is, and I'm going to read here, so forgive me if I look down just so I can stay on task, because if I go over all of these, this is going to go way too long. Week 1 is basically the focus is to getting to know each other and forming the bonds. This is your leadership team. We want them to be close to each other. We want them to be close to each other, not just you. You can't be the tie to everybody. You just can't. And so they need to tie to each other, and then they can tie to you too. But there's so many closer friendships within my leadership team than me. I may be a part of those relationships, but I'm not any of their best friends. They form them amongst each other. So here, this week is all about getting to know each other, about test running the Zoom or test running the teleconferencing, making sure that it works. So I'm not doing anything major on this one. Everyone gets a chance to introduce themselves. They tell why they got started and why they want more from their business. Why are they here? Why did you show up today? What is it that you're hoping to get out of it? We set them on a clear path to get organized. This is not just busy work. This is very, very, very important. We need them to get a clear workspace. Look, obviously, I really need to take my own work here, and I do. When I do this, I clear everything off. And mine was about 2 months ago we did this, and it's already trashed again. But look, you can see Michelle's desk. It's clean. She cleans hers off every time she gets done working. Okay, so, but they have to get organized. I want them to set aside a whole weekend, a whole day. I don't care. Set aside some time to completely clean your room. Get rid of anything that you're not using. Get rid of all your retired stuff. We're going to sell it. We're going to run some retired sales, some buy one, get one free. So we build sales within our business. We want a clear workspace so that they have clear-minded. So their homework here is to show a before and after. This is fun. It's really fun to see that. And I always participate in this too. And I always feel so much better with a clean desk. And I always feel like I'm going to work harder and do more because I've got more space on my desk instead of a 6-inch little space I'm trying to stamp in. And I tell them to throw away a lot. Don't keep paper. It's paper. What we do is paper crafting. So projects from 2 years ago, you're not going to still use them. Throw it away because you're going to make new ones. So we got to get them really focusing on cleaning. That's the only job for that first week. The Second week is about getting organized and getting going. So the first week is getting your craft space organized. The second week is getting your time organized, your time management. So we will set up a time management schedule. I will show them a sample one. I'll give them a blank one. And then we figure out when are they going to work. Everyone is different. How many days are you going to work? How many nights are you going to work? When? And get specific. This is accountability. Tell me when. Can you work Mondays from 9 to noon, Tuesdays in the evening, Wednesdays not at all, Thursdays all day, Friday a half day, and I can work two weekends a month. Like, when are you going to work? When are you going to book things? So that's exactly what I want them to map out on that time management schedule. I'm not asking them to do stuff yet. I'm asking them to tell me when they're able to work and to tell themselves and to tell their spouse. Tell your family, this is when I'm working my Stampin' Up! Business. Something usually has to go in order for them to be able to add more. So I'm going to tell them, in this program, I'm going to add on some time to your schedule. If you have extra time, great. Most of us don't. Most of us are all very, very busy people. So we have to change up things a little bit. What are you going to get rid of so you can add more to your time? They need to commit to attending the monthly meetings, the Facebook Live meetings, and these weekly meetings for the next 6 weeks. Commitment is what I need from them. If you don't show up, you will not succeed. So I make them commit to basically being trained and setting that commitment. Usually people who are successful have a level of loyalty and a level of commitment. If they don't, then they're usually in and out, and then their business is kind of in or out. They can still promote to Silver Elite, don't get me wrong, but I try to set up the very beginning that we have a commitment from them. And this last thing here is we set their goals. So I actually give them a goal sheet, and we set up what would their goals be. Now, everybody's goals are different, but I map out at least the minimum goals to reach Silver Elite. In my mind, that's what I'm trying to get them all to adapt to. But again, in this group, we've got all kinds of people. So they have to then set their goals. You may have somebody who's trying to earn the incentive trip. Well, Silver Elite's not going to get them the incentive trip. They need to be selling like $1,800 a month to $2,000 a month to get the incentive trip. So they're going to set their own goals. But I will give an example of, if you would like to promote to Silver Elite someday, these are the kind of goals you're going to want to have. You're going to want to have sales of at least 900 CSV a month. You're going to want to have, at least one recruit a month. You're going to want to map out to them what their goal sheet might look like. I usually minimum any business builder, I shoot for $1,000 a month. That's just, to me, minimum. That is where they're actually making an income. I mean, they're going to be making about $350 in money that they can use to spend on more, or they're going to use to actually have money. So I always, at a minimum, start at 1,000 CSV for what I would recommend for a typical business builder, regardless if their goal is Silver Elite or Silver, no goal at all, but that's where I always shoot for people for. Week 3 is now we got to get down to brass knuckles. This is where you start to weed everybody out. Like, everybody else can do all those. See, there was nothing I made them really do. Just I made them think, I made them plan, I made them clean, I made them start to get moving, and they can have success in every one of those areas. And all of this has homework attached that they have to report. Week 3 of those, we got to really fill our calendar. We talk about holding order-based classes, one monthly class a month at least, one monthly card class, and then we talk about holding card classes with hostesses. Basically, if they're going to sell $1,000 a month, how are you going to do that? Like, we got to have events on our calendar that are going to give you $1,000 in CSV a month. How? So usually I make them book one of their own private classes within the next, so it's not a regular monthly card class, so it's not their current customers. We need to bring in new customers. If they're not willing to have even their own class, their own private class, they're not going to do what it takes to do the rest of this. They're just not. If they're too embarrassed to invite neighbors and friends over, or to invite coworkers or their family, if they can't do that, they're never going to be able to step out of their comfort zone and go work someplace else and do other things that they're going to need to do. So we always start here. And then I would recommend that they hold and book at least 3 of these private classes within the next 6 weeks during this time frame. Now, this is for people who are trying to grow their sales. They can't just add more classes and think they're going to grow their sales. They don't have any customers. They have to find customers some way, shape, or form. And this is the best and most effective way for a brand new person to find customers and get sales. Just starting a blog and starting to blog every day is not going to give anybody sales. Doing a Facebook Live and doing an online party is not going to give anybody sales. It's brand new. Now, if you've been around for a while, if you have an established customer base, all of those things will work. But I'm talking about these business builders that are wanting to grow something and they don't have a foundation yet. So we got to teach them what works. And if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. That's their choice. And if they're not willing to book private classes or parties, then I ask them, then what are you going to do to get $1,000 in sales next month? They usually come up kind of empty. But that monthly card class is something that everybody will typically book, so we start there. How bad do they want it? And how else they plan on increasing their sales? And then I also at this point go over hostess coaching, because they can get bookings, but they cancel 8 times out of 10 if there's not proper hostess coaching. So I go over how to get the date, how to get them to commit, how to send out the invitations, how to start a Facebook event for reminders. I talk about all of those things. So we have to get a commitment from them. So hostess coaching is a key part here too. Week 4 is all about funnels. Funnels are just what I call a way to funnel in new customers all throughout the way. Again, I can't go through all these right now, guys, but how are they out there finding new customers? They're not just going to happen. Now, if they're doing 4 private classes a month, that's a funnel. That's good enough. But they can also do craft fairs. They actually have at least 2. They can have one-on-ones. That's with just you and one other person, just stamping and selling, having a sales. Again, there's a lot of teaching that goes into how to run a proper one-on-one. And I go through all of this on the training call. Bring a friend, free class passes, community ed programs, fundraisers, working at local libraries. So we go through funnels and how to find those funnels, and then what are they actually going to do. So then their homework is where are you going to go find your funnel, and how are you going to do it, and what is your funnel? Like, tell us what your funnel is. And if you think you have a funnel because you work at the local library but you don't ever have new customers, then that doesn't help you. Now notice my timing of this. I do the funnels after I talk about filling their calendar, because so many people fill their calendar with funnels, but they're not funneling them into anything. Does that make sense? So I've got a lot of recruits and training clients that are busy doing stuff, but they don't have anything on their calendar to invite people to. They don't have a monthly card class. They don't have any classes because they're too busy doing funnels. So funnels only work if you have an established calendar first, and you're funneling them into something where they can start coming to a class and ordering. And so then second, in week 4, we go over follow through, because again, so many people find all these new people through funnels, but then they don't seal the deal. They don't get them to start actually coming. So we talk about how you can text message afterwards, how you invite them to come to a class, how you email them, do door prize forms. How do you follow up with all these people that you're meeting? Thank you cards. How do you increase attendance at your classes? So we talk about this all in week 4. Week 5, then we go to recruiting. So through week 4, they should have some ways to bring in new customers. If they've done the homework, by the time we get to week 5, they should then be able to recruit. And this has to go in succession. You can't train on recruiting until you've talked about setting your goals, until you've talked about finding new customers. Because if they're going to recruit, they have to have a way and a funnel to replace those customers. Otherwise, they're going to recruit all their customers. They're going to have nobody left. Or they actually won't recruit because they don't want to lose their customers because they don't have any more coming in. I don't ever worry about recruiting, and I never have, because I've got enough customers coming in through my funnels that I can keep my personal business strong. That's what you want to adapt within your leaders, to have that mentality as well. So in recruiting, I have them name their team. Why would they want to recruit? How to recruit? And again, if you listen to the first one, I did all of this, and you could listen to all the different tips that we gave, or you can create your own tips. You can invite them to the next team meeting, have a benefits sheet, and talk about it with everyone. Offer it to everyone. It's the best deal in the catalog. And also you can recruit your hostess. And then we also go over when they should recruit, which is pretty much all the time. But I teach them how to recruit at their events, how to recruit online, how to have a benefits page on their blog, all those kind of things, or how to print your benefits page and hand that out too. The last week then is teaching them how to work with their new demonstrators, how for them to work with their new recruits. They can attend meetings together. They can set up a one-on-one with them. If I have a brand new recruit who recruits somebody, sometimes I will help with that one-on-one, but I like for her to be the leader. I give them a new recruit coaching checklist that they can use, and I gave it to you guys as well already, but you can use that too. Do a tag along. Tag along is the best training, and this is what I recommend that they do, a tag along. So the new recruit actually tags along with them to do their classes, just for learning, just a hands-on learning experience. And I love it because they actually kind of help me too. And then so I have a help, it's free help, and then they're actually learning also along the way. Number 8 is to also go and help them do their first event. So this is what you're teaching them to do with their new recruits. So I'm not saying you do this, well, you should have done this to begin with, but this is, you're trying to help this leadership team learn how to work with their new recruits. So you're teaching her how to go to meetings together. You're telling her to have a one-on-one with her new person. You're telling her to do a tag along with her new recruit. And you're telling her or him to have their person, you go help your new recruit at her first event. So this is what that point is. Week 7, the very end, I usually will extend it one more week. I want to see who's left, who still shows up. Who's ready for the last week. And then at this point, I will then work with those people one-on-one. My Business Builders group never misses a week. Yes, that means 52 weeks a year. Even the week of Christmas, I share something. It's not an intense business topic. It's usually just a tutorial of some new cards that they can use to do a class on. But I show up every single week. Sometimes it's something recorded because I'm on vacation, but I still record it before I leave. But typically, and not typically, always, there's something every single week. The above agenda is what I personally now call my mastermind group. So it's above and beyond the business builders who wants to work a little bit more. But we follow that very much same agenda. It's the same agenda. Just sometimes we get a little bit more intense in certain areas depending on the size of your team and the leaders that you have. It has a lot more accountability. Then this only happens twice a year. I do only do this twice a year. But the Business Builders group is every single week. This is the best scenario for your team eventually. You might have to work there because it might be too intense for you at first. So just do a 6-week session to start with. And then if you decide that you love it and they love it too, then you can always extend that to more. All right, lastly, and we've got about 8 minutes left, good timing so far, is the one-on-one. So after this business program, and so here's the deal, I don't just jump to the one-on-one. And I have this happen, if I have a leader in my team or someone who wants to build a business, but they don't partake in the business builders, they don't get a one-on-one with me. They're not willing to invest. I'm doing the work. And if they don't listen, then I know doing a one-on-one with me is not going to work either. I'm not going to invest my time if they won't invest their time. So sometimes the first thing when they want help, I'll ask them, have you listened to any of the training? I don't see you on the weekly calls. You haven't showed up. Do you do any of that? That's where I can help you. When and if you commit to being a part of our business builders, then we can do a one-on-one. So I pull my one-on-ones from my business builders, the ones who want more work. So again, I go through the program, see who's still there, see who you're trying to develop to a silver elite, and then that's who we do one-on-one work with. So remember, you don't always have to be the one investing the time. They need to invest the time back into you as well. So the one-on-one works. It is the most effective form of any training you can do. Twice a month is perfect, so you can do bi-weekly calls with them twice a week. They need to be consistent, so we set a consistent time, like every other Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Every other, you're going to pick the time that works for you. So set that consistent time. A lot of my leaders, we actually have like one day. So you might have just like Thursdays and you only do your one-on-one work on Thursdays. That also may be the day that you do your leadership call. So that way your brain can do your personal business Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And then all of your downline work will be done on one day so your brain can focus on that. Does that make sense? The cool part is you talk about the same thing with almost everybody. So it's not like, you've got to start from scratch with each person. So I also like doing it on the same day when I do that leadership training. So that might be what we end up talking about one-on-one together to see if they've listened, to see if they're partaking in it, and if they're taking action on what you're doing. You can do this with long-distance people and even local people. Local people, still having that, and we don't meet face-to-face. It's still usually a phone call or even a Zoom so you can see each other. But that means you got to wash your hair and put makeup on if you want to. If you want to, you don't have to, but you can do it that way. They're usually 25 to 30 minutes maximum, and I communicate that up front that these are only 20 to 25 minutes, because then within a half an hour you can say we're done. That means there's no time for chit-chatting. You pretty much get right to work. I answer their questions first. So I tell them if they have questions to bring them to the call. This alleviates me having to answer questions all throughout the week. They just bring it to the call. So write them down and bring it there. And then I will usually give them some steps towards reaching what their goal is. So I'll give them steps. If their sales are down, I'll give them some steps on booking a private class, getting a hostess, they might only be doing one class a month. Maybe they should be doing two. Who can they talk to about stamping with? I give them some actual homework steps. They need to come focused and ready to work. You're not there just to socialize. We socialize for about 2 minutes and then that's it. Yes, you will need to be somewhat of a therapist. Just accept that. Sometimes they just need to kind of be able to vent a little bit, and then you get them refocused and a positive action forward. That helps them a little bit to know that they're not alone in the world and that they have someone to talk to. Now, I don't let them complain and whine, and we always talk about how we can move forward, but they might need to have a little bit of just time to talk to you on a personal level. And so I do know that sometimes I'm like their stamping therapist. They need to talk to you about an issue at a class or an issue with a downline member or something like that, and that is totally understandable, and I expect that. So I want you to expect that too, and don't like, oh my gosh, I'm just a therapist. Well, yeah, you kind of are. That's the point of it. And I offer them to everyone. You'll be surprised. Very few will take you up on it because they don't want to be held accountable. They're kind of probably scared to talk to you. So I really, very few, I offer it to everybody, but very few will take me up on it. And let me clarify that. I offer this to all of my leaders, not my whole team. And depending on your time, like for instance, I only do my direct leaders because I have a very large team. I have a team of over 300, and I have a team of over like 70 leaders. So I can't offer to everyone. One-on-one, I just would never be able to. So I have to tone that back a little bit, and I offer it to my direct leaders. So, but you, depending on your size, 10 years ago, I did it for my whole team. So you need to decide what you can do, but don't worry. Not everyone's going to take you up on it. You might be surprised that only a couple say yes. So then what I do next is I actually approach the people that I do want to work with, that I do think that they're possible, that they do have the potential to become a Silver Elite, and I will actually approach them and say, hey, let's have a one-on-one call so we can kind of map out and plan out, how you can get to Silver Elite, or how I can help you, or how you can grow your business. And they'll be like, oh, really? Like, you think I can do that? Absolutely. They will not see it in themselves. They don't see themselves as the next Silver Elite. Remember, you're planting that seeds. You're putting that belief in them until they can believe it themselves. So look, to wrap this up, success does not come easy. What I mapped out today, it's not easy. It's not hard. It's not hard at all, but it is a time investment. I don't think that you thought it was going to be easy. Maybe you were hoping it was, that there was some magic sauce to just getting Silver Elites in your team, but it's not. But it is a system. It's roughly, really only about 3 hours a week. Now the months when I do a Silver Elite reception, it's a little bit more because I got to prepare for that. But on most weeks, It's only about 3 hours a week. And now that will grow as your team grows and the more people that you're working with. But the more people you're working with means your income should be higher. So you're making more money, so that means more time should be put into it. We just have to be able to make it a priority to hit our schedule. Some of us think we don't have time to work with our teams, but we're not scheduling it in there or making it a priority. The bigger your team is, the more time this is all going to take. But still, I think at the very most, the time I spend with my leaders and my team is no more than 6 hours a week. Your personal business is still a huge priority and always will be. That's how you have to have new people to come in, new customers, to have new hostesses, to have new recruits. Then the process starts all over again. I'm always building my next Silver Elite. But through this training, your team is going to continue to keep growing. So right now, this might only be with a couple people, but that is going to grow. This success does not come easy. But it does work. You are going to have to invest some time. There wasn't anything that cost you money during what I mapped out today, except for probably if you're going to go and have to buy Zoom, but if you don't want to, you can use a Facebook Live. This is all boiling down to you prioritizing your time and making time to build the leaders in your team. This is not just about building Silver Elites. Along the way, along this whole program, you might not everyone's going to be a Silver Elite, but they will probably promote to Bronze Elite, and you're going to get a whole heck of a lot of silvers out of this. And those all count towards your bonuses. Those all count towards your flex points. And so this program will help you solidify a foundation to where you might then have a couple Silver Elites a year. You only need one to promote to Gold. You only need two to promote to Gold Elite. And then you get a 2% bonus off everything more that you sell and everything that your directs sell. Silver Elite bonus is financially a huge benefit to what you're already doing. So you may only build 1 or 2 Silver Elites a year. My goal is usually to have 4 a year, and that's a goal that I set forth. And I do all of this and probably even a little bit more to be able to reach that. So you got to start somewhere. And this program is going to help you. Maybe this year you do this program and you get no Silver Elites. But I promise you're going to build some silvers out of it. And then when you do this again, and then maybe again, now you're going to start having the people to pull from to become Silver Elite. So your homework. You ready for your homework? When are you going to have your 6-week business builder course or your 6-week leadership program? Set the dates right now. Who do you think will be the ones that join it? Remember, invite everybody, but who do you want to do it? Make the list even before you send out the invitation, because if those people do not join, you're going to call and invite them. So make the list and invite everybody, but specifically, invite the ones because they might not think that you're talking to them. You need to invite them. Tell them why you see that potential in them. Number 3 is to map out time to have those one-on-ones. When can you offer them? And so make sure you stick to the time that works best for you, but you got to offer it. You may only have 1 take you up on it. You may only have 2. You may have 10. I don't know. All of you are at different places in your business, but this is a part that works. And number 4 is to have faith and make a commitment to work this plan for the next solid year. So until March of 2019. During that time frame, you should have 3 of these courses, 3. And you'll have a whole year of implementing the rewards and recognition that we mapped over last module. So a year of those rewards and recognition. 3 of these courses by the end of next March. You mark my words, you are going to have some Silver Elites in your team. They don't happen overnight, but they are built by a lot of consistent effort, a lot of work. And I'm going to tell you right now, these rewards are financial. They are. But they are more emotional than anything else. There is nothing that can produce the feeling, not even my own successes or any goals that I hit, that I feel when one of my team members hits their promotion. or earns that incentive trip. And it's because I walked with them. I have seen them start from the very beginning and worked all the way. When they hit that, when they reach that goal, it is as much my success as theirs. And that's the joy that's the payment that I get. Yes, there's bonuses. Yes, there's the flex points in the trip and the global 100 and all of that comes along out of the ways. But none of that really is, it's great, don't get me wrong. But seeing that teammate succeed is far more rewarding than anything else. And unless you're actually in the trenches with them, unless you actually really are walking side by side with them, unless you see what they've gone through, you're not going to feel that joy. But when you see how hard they work and you know the steps they've done and you've mapped out the homework and they've done the homework with you, that's when you feel that joy. All right, good luck. Thank you for being a part of this program, this academy. I am excited that you are here, and I'm grateful that you've invested your time. If you've made it to the end, because guess what? Not everybody will get here. If you've made it to the end, you were the person I'm talking about. You are the person that I know has what it takes to take this to the next level. Not only are you going to be a silver elite, but I'm sure you're going to be a gold and a gold elite, and before you know it, platinum elite. Six silver elites is what you need. Set that as a goal. When are you going to do that? Because I know you can. And then you get to get your face on the wall at Stampin' Up. Did you know that? All right, good luck. I'm here for you. And we have the Silver Elite Academy Facebook group. If you've got questions you'd like to ask, I will pop on there and hopefully be able to answer them. Have a great day, great week. And I look forward to hearing from you and how this academy has impacted you and how it's going to impact your business. Bye-bye.